Welcome to Community Focus here on Edge Radio Australia. My name's Aaron Malloy. I'm very lucky to have a gentleman here who is very focused on the community indeed. And tell you right now, he's doing the right thing and he's putting his hand up. What would your name be, young man?
My name is Jason Davies and I'm running for the Rockingham Safety Bay Ward and the Rockingham Council.
Mate, that's a big deal. It's a big thing to do. And, I really commend you for that, because so many people, they talk a big game, but they don't actually put their hand up for this sort of thing. So the community level stuff is really where, lives get changed when things get done for, the kids of the community, the elderly, a lot of people who will get forgotten by big government. So we need people like yourself to step up and make a difference at that level. So, good on you for that, mate.
Thank you.
Now, you haven't been involved in council before, have you?
No, I haven't. This is, if I'm elected, this will be my first time.
I actually think it's quite a positive. I think it's important to have fresh blood. So the fact that you're sort of stepping in there and you haven't done it before, or you're not let's be frank, okay? You're not a professional, lifelong politician.
Not for a long shot. No.
No. And for me, getting, real people with real life experiences, you out there, you work on the tools, you've got a real job and real bills.
Yes.
And all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been a panel beater now for about 10, 15 years.
Okay.
I've just only recently started working back in the local area. Unfortunately, not a lot of work going on in Rockingham. So when the opportunity came up, I jumped on it almost immediately.
Well, council can actually affect that to a very big degree. When we can see other councils have been quite negative towards local business, and it's really drawn down the area. And that makes unemployment obviously rise, but also makes crime rise, all sorts of other sort of antisocial things that aren't great for a community. So bringing jobs back to that area is obviously going to be foremost in your mind, I gather.
It is to a certain degree. I mean, there's not a lot that we can do to sort of force jobs into the area. The only thing we can do is try and entice the local industry to consider us as an avenue when considering. God, I've lost myself there now.
That's all right.
It's tough because it all goes down to zoning.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sort of just plonk a factory anywhere.
No.
So for us, it's all about just strategic planning when it comes to inserting industry in the local area.
Yeah, sure. Well, industry means jobs, right? Yeah. And yes, a job with an area with good employment, strong employment, always does really, really well. Now, there's a few things I want to ask you, because I don't know what these things mean, and I know there's so many initials that get thrown out around the place. So what is, indulge me here, what is FOGO?
Oh, so FOGO, or Food Organic, Garden Organic, is a state program that's come through within the past 10 years now. Mm-hmm. It started for us here in WA. It started in Bunbury back in 2013. So basically, it's a new bin system that they're bringing onto us, where your green bins will now be emptied on a weekly basis, and will contain anything compostable, like your food scraps in your house, as well as your garden clippings from your front and your back gardens. Now the problem is the fecal matter, your dog droppings and your cat droppings and your animal droppings, unfortunately, is not on that list under the new green bin policy, which is very, very strange, because it is considered a compostable item.
You think so, right? In fact, I thought they'd encourage that.
Yes, I thought that would too. But in saying that, if it's not recyclable or if it's not compostable, it goes into your red bin, which now will be emptied fortnightly. Okay,
now I'd be sure, because I know I would be. I'd be pretty concerned about that. I'm, a pet owner. We know that. Let's face it, that there's smells involved, and you want to make your home as nice as it possibly can be.
Yes.
So every fortnight, that's getting a bit iffy. I mean, I know that, for argument's sake, and sort of, I know I'm going on a stretch here, but work with me here, is that I know that some areas which have a lot of fishing, they'll actually do multiple collections per week because they know that people put fish in the bins.
Yes,
so,
and you can imagine what that smell's going to be like now that we're heading into the summer period.
Yeah,
it's not going to be pleasant, and not just like animal droppings or fish entrails like that. Human sanitation.
Yeah. Okay.
Diapers, nappies, sanitation pads.
Yeah.
You can't just, they're not compostable, they're not recyclable, and they're going to be sitting out in the hot summer sun for 2 weeks until they are removed from your property.
Jason, I'm glad you're thinking about this because I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Well, as a family man of 6, and being my youngest is 3 years old, and we're just getting towards that point where we're going to start toilet training him. We're still in the nappy period, so.
Okay. So it's very real to you.
Very real. Okay. Very real.
Look, I can understand there's a lot of environmental concerns and there's a lot of things that they're trying to do. But let's be frank, okay? To my mind, a council, one of the primary things, the absolute primary things they should be thinking about is waste removal, right? And they should be making it a priority. This to me seems like, is it about cost? Yeah, are we moving the shelves a little bit, or is that just my read?
There is an environmental aspect to it because with this FOGO system, the ultimate end game was for them to remove as much as they can from landfill. I think the numbers were 30 to 40%. To be removed from landfill just in the food scraps alone.
Yep.
So there is an environmental factor, but the one key value behind the shift to the FOGO system has been incentives.
Okay.
It's all coming back down to the money. I think when I first saw it in 2023 come through council, I think the incentive was that they were going to be receiving $800,000 to apply to jump into this incentive from the state government.
Okay.
So it all comes down to the money.
Follow the money, right? That's okay. Right. Well, we've talked about that enough as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm going to turn my nose at it. Boom, boom.
Yeah. Well, you and everybody else in Rockingham.
Exactly right. And I mean, I've got to admit, I spent a lot of my life down that way. It's a beautiful part of the world.
It is. It is a gorgeous place, and I've lived there for so long now. I feel like I'm almost part of the furniture there, and I've seen it change and evolve to the times. But it was one of my sort of beliefs that, coming to Rockingham, it's given me so much. It's provided so much for me and my family that, it almost feels now like a civic duty to sort of give back to the community.
I can hear the gratitude in your voice, which is, it's very real.
Yeah, it has been such a lovely place. I wouldn't live anywhere else.
That's great to hear, mate.
Pay me to move anywhere else.
Oh, there you go. Well, it's great that you're willing to, as I say, step forward.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've talked about the rubbish, and there might be a financial element to that. So why don't we talk about rates?
Oh yes, the never-ending story that is rates increases.
Oh, they just seem to have one direction, don't they?
Yes. Well, man, a lot of candidates will say, I will provide you with lower rates.
Yep.
Financially speaking, I'm hard pressed to say that it'll ever come back. I mean, we did have a series during the COVID era where rates either froze or sort of pulled back as services weren't needed as much at the time. But now that we're past that point, I can only see rates going up. So one of my aims in council is to sort of make the city administration accountable for what they spend.
Okay.
So in order to do that, we've got to sort of look at everything as a whole and then see if we can rein back the spendings a bit so that we're not putting too much of a financial burden on the ratepayer.
I could not agree more. I'm quite passionate about that particular issue. As I say, was very much a South River boy, but I ended up in Wanneroo for quite a long time. And in Wanneroo during COVID, when everybody was struggling and so many people, didn't have much money. It was a really, really tough time. The rates went up 3%.
Wow.
Yes, I know. And there was great sort of resistance to it, and the public were very angry, but they still did it, and council did not listen to the people. And this is a big thing, and a big part of why you're sitting here right now and we're having this conversation, because it is so important that your councillors actually represent you. They listen to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, not a lot of people realize this. They focus a lot on state and federal government because they feel that's where they're getting the most impact from. But reality is, it's local council and local government that really has the most direct pressure on a person as far as a resident and ratepayer is concerned. That it's largely ignored. I mean, the last election I was in, only 30% turned out to vote. So you've got a 70% gap there that just aren't paying attention. They're not voting. So what's happening is that you're only getting a third of the population in your area that's really making a big difference. And when you've got things like FOGO coming out, you really want a council who's taking the residents' concerns and using that to mold and affect change within a local level. So if you're not voting, you're essentially saying, I don't care. I'm not interested.
Please get out there and vote. It's so important.
Please get out there and vote. Local council is probably one of the most important parts of living in a city.
Yeah.
Because you're essentially paying anywhere between $1,400 and I'm going to say $3,000 a year for services provided by a local council. And I think that if you're putting that kind of money into a service and they're giving you the opportunity to make a change in that, in how you're represented and in how those services affect you, I reckon you should use that opportunity to say what you want to say, get across your point of view, and in fact vote for the people that are going to get your point across. Vote for a battler's voice. That's what I'm trying to say here. I'm a representative for the battlers.
Well, I think you just used the important word, representative. Like that's, to me, that is, I mean, battlers obviously important because look, if
dealing with local council is a battle.
It
almost feels like a very, very long battle.
Look, if you've never done it tough in life, and if you've only ever lived in ivory towers, well, you're lucky you. But for the rest of us who live in the real world and know what these pressures are, there's a lot of people in councils who just know nothing about the real world. They're there because they've had, quite frankly, they've got a bit of money. They put themselves, they can campaign really well. That's why, from my point of view, and I mean, we probably don't agree on everything, but I certainly, and I'm sure about that. But I think that it's important to give you the opportunity and have this conversation. Really important to have the conversation, because a battler deserves to be seen, and a battler deserves the opportunity to represent. And I think you can truly, I don't know, from an ethical standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, you get it more. Well,
yeah, man. I'm not just I don't have a financial background. I'm going to admit this now. I don't work in finance. I don't work some white collar job, and I'm not discounting white collar workers, but I'm a blue collar worker. I'm not going to pretend that I've got the right answers. I'm just merely a megaphone for the majority of people's concerns, and the majority of people in the Rockingham area, at least in my opinion, do work a blue collar job.
Yeah, they do. So you're not coming in with a trust fund, mate?
No, God, no.
Oh dear. All right, let's jump into another subject now. This one's a bit awful. We'll go for your old AUKUS.
So one of the unique things about Rockingham is it's very defense oriented. We live close to the beach. We have a naval base just off the coast.
Sure do.
And it's a prime location for a naval yard. And for me, I don't see a real benefit to AUKUS from a residential point of view, other than a boost to local economy and a potential pressure on local housing, which, as we all know, housing at the moment is difficult to get in.
It's a massive problem.
I mean, we've had the state government turn around and say that they're gonna start allowing banks to offer 5% loans for first home owners.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately going to add a bit of pressure. I don't think it's going to add too much pressure, but it's going to add pressure nonetheless. And now that we're going to have American and UK defense personnel coming in.
Sure.
Now, they've already said that they're going to have 550 homes purposely built for overseas personnel coming into Rockingham in the Davies area.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, that's creating, I feel it's going to create a divide between the people who are wanting to get into the housing market, because they're all ready to build these houses for defense personnel. Mm-hmm. But is that going to take priority over people in the area who want to build a house?
Okay. Geez, it's a tough one, isn't it?
It is
a really tough one. And this is where you've got to get into the nuance of these things. You've got to get into the detail, which I'm not across.
Yeah. So the problem with AUKUS at the moment is people, especially in the Rockingham area, are only hearing that one really bad word, the N word, nuclear.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So part of the deal is that Garden Island's going to become essentially, they call it a nuclear repair and maintenance site, where they're going to temporarily store some nuclear waste. The problem is, the minute you hear the word nuclear, everybody starts going to things like 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, Fukushima. They're thinking about this worst case scenario. They've also been hearing residents saying things like, we're going to become a target for nuclear interests should it hit the proverbial fan. We could be a target for attack. I think it's more. I think for me, it's more to do with the footprint that it leaves on Rockingham. I mean, we've just heard the federal government announce a $12 billion investment into Western Australian infrastructure to entice defence to become more ingratiated into Western Australia. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, most of that's going to Henderson with the shipyards. So that's going into investing into more infrastructure around shipbuilding there. Right, I can't see how any of that's going to sort of float its way down towards Rockingham.
Right.
And so I'm still sitting on the fence with AUKUS. I'm not sure how it's going to benefit.
Well, look, I appreciate you doing that, because you're obviously going in there, you're looking at the options, right? You're not going in there with going, okay, I'm steadfastly against it, or I'm steadfastly for it. You're looking at the options, and I think that's probably a pretty good role to be in if you're going to be in council. Look at the pros, look at the cons. I mean, as you're having this conversation with me, I'm kind of thinking of some pros, some cons. I can see it being very good for the area. This other side, so I'm not so hot on, right? So,
well, there is an information session coming out tomorrow that the ASA have published. I can't for the life of me remember where it was, but it is 6:00 tomorrow. I will put out another post on my Facebook page. So for anyone who is interested, you do have to register, of course, because there's limited numbers. If you don't make it, though, I'll try and put up a post on my Facebook giving any relevant information that I feel the residents of Rockingham may need to know. So,
and there is a lot of Defence Force people in the Rockingham area. I mean,
there is, yeah.
Actually, 3 of my mates who live in the Rockingham area, literally work on Garden Island. So there you go. It's it's an integral part of the area, and it's got to be managed properly, right?
It does, yeah. And another thing that's come up with AUKUS as well is, of course, the Garden Island Highway. That's become a potential hot potato for Rockingham as well.
Okay.
So what they want to do is they want to sort of upgrade the put in like a highway that gives better access towards Garden Island. The problem is it's cutting through Class A bushland.
Oh, right.
And there have been a lot of opponents who've been calling for things like environmental studies to ensure that whatever they're doing isn't going to impact the environment, because you've got Lake Richmond nearby, which has a series of thrombolites, which are
okay. I don't know that.
Yeah, it's. I'm not. Don't quote me on what they are. I think they're just like they're formations.
Okay.
But they're significant to the area.
Okay. For those who are, environmentally sort of very, very switched on, they'll understand these impacts, right?
I mean, I'm not totally environmentally switched on, but I know the importance of conservation in the area.
Sure.
And we can't just go throwing roads wherever, because it's going to have a severe environmental
impact.
Again,
it's back to my sort of point before. Jason, you can't be an expert in everything.
No.
But if you've got an open mind and you go in there that way and you think about that, you're going to go and look at all the information. You're going to look at every angle. You're going to look at the environment.
Yeah, and that's what people want. They want you to go in there with an open mind, but they also want to know that you're listening to their concerns.
Exactly right, mate. You're representing them. All right, full stop. All right, road safety. This is an issue in that neck of the woods, in the Rockingham area. As I say, this is an area I know and is close to my heart. Although sometimes I get treated like I'm a traitor because I crossed the Great Divide and went north the river many years ago.
You buggered off to the north.
I know, but I didn't have a lot of choice in the matter.
No, I meant neither did I, trying to get work in Rockingham. For my apprenticeship, being a panel beater, I had to travel from Osborne Park and back for 5 years.
That's a big drive.
That is a big drive.
And that traffic around Armadale Road, geez, isn't that fun?
Oh man, I didn't even touch the freeway for like 2 of those years.
Okay, right.
So it's just ridiculous. But
just too hard.
Moving on, yes, road safety in Rockingham has become a bit of a hot topic.
Yeah, it really is.
So we had a community safety forum a couple of weeks ago that Magenta Marshall and Reese Whitby hosted. Okay. And the statistics that come out towards hooning and antisocial behaviour were quite astonishing. So according to the station officer in charge, who was at the Community Safety Forum, in the last year, 742 cars were impounded in regards to the hoon laws.
Okay.
And that was in just that year. Another statistic was a big issue in the area, kids riding dirt bikes in the area. So they said that within that year as well, they had also seized and crushed 52 dirt bikes as regard to the anti-hoon laws.
That's unbelievable. That's one a week. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 3 cars a day, 1 a week.
Yeah.
One dirt bike a week. Yeah.
Mind-blowing, actually. Look, I mean, that's obviously something you've got to put a lot of care into. And the whole area has developed so much over the last few years. There used to be a lot of land out there that, that guys and girls would be out there on their dirt bikes. And, I don't know I think there still is some.
Yeah, there is. There are certain areas that you can go that's sort of off the beaten track where you can do that. I mean, a lot of people don't like it. They frown upon it. But really, I'd rather them go out into sort of the industrial areas where it's not going to sort of impact a lot of people.
Well, there's the Kwinana off-road area, okay, which isn't that far away, really, all said and done. Like, you can go there. It's a safe spot. It's designed for it. It's a gazetted area. So, there is a reason for it. As far as hooning goes, the world's changed a lot. And, I first to put my hand up and say, of those hoons, look, I am... guilty as charged. I was one of those people.
Yeah, I don't want people looking at my driving record either, because it doesn't paint a pretty picture. But
several things. You grow up, don't you? Right?
Yeah, okay. You mature. You realise that these things were stupid. That if you had a chance, I bet everyone out there watching has something that they regret doing out on the road. I've got plenty of regrets,
of course.
But the idea of doing stupid things is to learn from the mistakes, because you're eventually going to get caught, right? You cannot go out doing that thinking, nah, I'm invincible. Nobody's going to catch me, because you eventually get caught. The police have the technology to catch you. And if they don't catch you now, it doesn't matter. They've got someone watching you and you will get caught. They'll wait until you pull up at home, and then they'll get you there.
That's right. It was very, very different, back in my day. I mean, there wasn't cameras everywhere, okay? Also, there wasn't the traffic. It was much, much quieter. I'm not making excuses for myself. I'm saying, but it was a different world. Also, there wasn't things like the Motorplex where you could have, there's Whoop Ass Wednesday, things like that, events that you can be part of. There is opportunities to take it elsewhere.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So I like to see the council embrace as much of that as they can. I know it's a different council, but it's up the road. And
well, man, I would like to see more activities that revolve around defensive driving.
Yeah.
Obviously, council that sort of goes outside the perspective of council, but if the council can advocate for maybe WA police or the state government to look into more defensive driving courses, so and maybe look into some programs where we can maybe an open day at Barbagallo.
How good would that be?
Where you don't need a CAMS license to go in. You can just go in. You can have some fun for the day or two. You pay a fee. Yep. I mean, they do it with Whoop Ass Wednesdays at Kwinana Motorplex, and I think that these are sort of programs that we need to look at more often in a way to sort of slow people down. I mean, I know as much as anyone, the thrill of going at high speeds, but I don't think you can't be doing that on the roads.
It's a different world now.
It really is. With more and more people coming in, the population increasing, you're going to have more cars on the road, and you just need to be careful out there.
So, I mean, am I hearing this from you? This is what I'm taking from what you just said. I know that the council can't make direct changes in that sort of thing, but they can certainly do very good advocacy work. They could also...
There are things that they can do. So one of... during the annual electors meeting last year, one of my motions was to advocate for more speed calming devices around suburban roads that are 50 k's and under. So a lot of people go, speed calming, it's just a speed hump in the road. I'll just go driving over that at 70 k's. I can tell you now, as a man in the industry, they can do some real damage if you're going too fast over those. I've seen people bend suspension parts 90 degrees going over some of the more harsher speed bumps, like the Duramax ones that they stick out.
Yep.
Now the council have been active in that role. There are sort of speed calming devices in the area. There are also these slow points, which I like to call chicanes.
Yes.
And I call them chicanes because you look at Monte Carlo and Formula One, they've got that straight coming down out of the tunnel, and it goes straight into that sort of off track bend, that sort of 90 degree, and so on. And that's what I see them as, because they don't really put anything in the middle of it that's going to actively slow them down. And take it from experience, you can do those chicanes at a certain speed.
It concerns me sometimes that they might be more incentive than they are actually working.
They can be, yeah. So if you're going to do the chicane, that's fine. Put something in the middle that sort of gets them to slow down a bit, Because I mean, down my street, I live on a real straight road. You could see one corner from the other. And I'm smack bang in the middle of my road. So I'm in my lounge room watching TV, and I'm just hearing, so 50k road, I'm hearing people going past my house doing well in excess of 100k an hour.
Yeah, it's not on.
In some cases.
Not on.
And it's going to get to a point where somebody's going to lose control of their vehicle, and they're going to come plowing into the front of my house or somebody else's house. And that's going to be when council are going to step in and go, okay, no, we better find a way to slow it down. And it's happened before. then council needs to stop being reactive and start being a bit more proactive when it comes to road safety. They have the problem is they don't have the data. That's what they keep saying to me. We don't have the data that says that people are speeding down here. I can't sit out on my front lawn with a lawn chair watching people go past, recording who's not doing the speed limit every day. I can't do that. And if I hear someone going past my house, I've literally got 3 seconds to get out the front of my house and watch them go past and hope to the heavens that I've got enough details that I can file a Hoon report. I can't do that every time.
No, of course you can't.
And I know that the police want this data so they can target these areas, but I think that as an advocate, me going to council and saying these are the areas that you really need to be focusing on.
There is tech available. Like there's inexpensive tech available that the councils could be using.
So they've got the road monitoring devices they stick over. The problem is when they last did one on my street, they put it down the end, right near the intersection. They didn't put it outside my house, which is where they really, really do need to put it. And I've told them that I'm more than happy to have the device sort of just on my front verge. I don't care. As long as they're getting the data, which is going to get either the necessary changes down my road or maybe police monitoring the area. That's fine. And I know that there are other people out there who have this problem. They've got cars going past their house doing more than double the speed limit. So I'm urging them, if you do have that problem, right, apparently the council and the police need the data. So please report them.
Yeah.
Please report them, because without your report, they don't have the data, and without the data, they can't affect change.
The fact that you're saying these things is just absolutely, it's more reinforcement of the fact you're living in the area, you're living the experience that all of the other people in the council are actually, and when I say the council, I mean the everyday people, the ratepayers, the people who are living there, rent, all of that sort of thing, the people who are actually, the part of the community.
Yeah.
Right. So you understand the problems of the community. It's not like, oh, gee, I'm just angry because they're racing on my street. No, if they're racing on your street, they're racing on that one. And
I know, just by looking at parts of Rockingham, considering the fact I've been there for 30 plus years, I know the bad spot where the bad spots are. So I'm in a unique position to give council that data, but I feel that whenever I tell them during public question time or whenever I approach them privately, it doesn't seem to be sinking in. And I've spoken to the police about this on several occasions, including that community safety forum, but they keep telling me the same old thing. You've got to report it. You've got to report it. You've got to report it. And it's tough because, working full time, raising family, and now taking on this role of advocating for the community, it's hard for me to be there all the time watching these people going down the street. And it's the same can be said for most residents. They hear a car going past and they're just, oh, bloody hell, slow down.
That's all I can think. Mate, you clearly do care about the community. You've clearly been in the area for a very long time.
Yeah, 30 plus years. I've been there since 88.
There you go. Where can people get hold of you?
So on the City of Rockingham, my bio is there. You search the candidates 2025 in the City of Rockingham, you'll see my bio. My bio has got an email that you can get to me, Jason Davies for Rocco, or one word, @gmail.com. I'm going to give you a phone number as well.
Look at you go.
My mobile number for personal contact, if you're in the West Australian area, is 0413 907 108. And I also have a Facebook page. So if you search Jason Davies for Rockingham /Safety Bay, you'll come across this lovely mug and my page.
Can't believe you thought that mug was, but I'm teasing you, mate. I love what you just did. You just show genuine accountability. You've put your phone number up there. You've given people an opportunity to really reach out and contact
you.
I
really do want people to reach out, because if they don't reach out and they don't tell me their concerns, I can't advocate for them. Now, I've done this on a couple of occasions now. One prime example, I got contacted at the last election by a few residents who live on Lewin Parade.
Right.
Now, they found out that they got letters in the mail from the city of Rockingham stating that there was some consideration into opening Lewin Parade. So for context, Lewin Parade has this sort of temporary gate shut off dead center.
Okay.
Right? This happened a while ago. Don't quote me exactly when. I'd have to go through the minutes to provide the exact information. But they got a letter in the post saying that council were considering opening that up. Now, they came to me saying, exactly the same thing. They're worried about people using it as a thoroughfare, going way too fast down there, and that that temporary gate was put in as a design, as a means to stop that, to stop people using it as a thoroughfare.
Okay.
Because they just wanted a nice, quiet road. That's fair enough. That's what you'd expect when you're going to an area like that. You don't want people zooming down your street. So I went to the council. I sort of questioned them about it. I said, look, people in Lewin Parade, they've got this gate there. They want something more permanent. So I managed to force the council into a position where they've decided that they're going to permanently shut that gate off, and they're going to turn it into more of a greens strip.
Nice.
With a footpath. So it's going to become a more permanent fixture. Okay. And that was one of more of my first successes as an advocate. My next one came at the last annual electors meeting, which goes back to rates. So when you open your rates up, you'll notice that when you go down to the bottom where you've got your pay options, where you can pay it all in one lump sum, biannually, quarterly, month, and then the newer options, monthly, fortnightly, and weekly. You'll notice down the little bit underneath where it says cost of option fee. So what that is when you pay your rates, you're paying for a service in the future. So your rates go into a reserve fund, and it sits there for a year.
Okay.
Right. Until until it gets around to the next financial year, which is when the city takes that out and uses that to fund assets and services.
Right.
So if you pay the whole thing up front, you haven't got a problem. You've paid the whole thing up front. When you get into the other cost options, biannually, quarterly, monthly, fortnightly, weekly, the cost of option fee covers the interest they lose while it sits in that bank.
No.
Yep. So my elector's motion was to get rid of that. All right, because as far as I'm concerned, our inability to pay the whole thing, right, is not something we should be punished for financially.
No.
Right?
No.
I understand that they want to collect interest, and it seems like a very smart financial move. They're gaining a little bit extra money, but them passing the buck onto us, I find that ethically wrong.
I completely agree.
Yeah. And a lot of people say, a lot of councillors, some councillors have even gone, it's only $30, and for me, I could eat that cost, I'm in a financial position where I'm okay. I'm well off. I could eat that cost, There are a lot of people out there who can't.
Yeah.
Right. So $30, that's milk for the next couple of weeks. It's sandwiches for the kids' lunches.
It's real world costs.
It's real world costs, and in the financial crisis we have now, every dollar counts.
Every dollar.
And that again goes to rates. You're charging, you're bringing these rates up, and then you've got councillors saying, it's only an extra $7. I'm sure you can afford that. No, not a lot of people can.
Yeah,
$7 could mean the difference between paying a bill or having your services cut off.
It's that real.
It is that real, and a lot of people budget accordingly. And and when it comes rate increase time, a lot of people worry about it. A lot of people are scared. You know, they start talking about percentage numbers. They think that, you know, bringing it down as low as they can is a win. And for me, it's a win. You know, if a council can actually bring down rates, then it's a win. So my annual electors motion, getting back onto story, was to remove that cost of option fee.
Okay.
All right. We can't pay. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can pay the bulk sum. That's fine. But for those out there that can't, they shouldn't be punished for that. All right. That I was successful in just for this year, though, and only for monthly, fortnightly, and weekly. So what happens is it went to council, it was argued, and they essentially said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to take away the cost of option fee for everyone.
Okay.
All right. But they only did it for monthly, fortnightly, and weekly. They didn't do it for biannually, and they didn't do it for quarterly, which I'm going to be honest, it pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right. So hopefully, once we get the numbers back next financial year, see whether because it's really down to whether people can pay their rates. Right now, this year I decided to opt for weekly payments.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to go for quarterly or biannually because it's going to cost me $30 extra.
Sure.
Right. And that's just being smart. So for me, that was a win because essentially I know it wasn't just me who did that, but I started the wheel. I got the ball rolling.
Look, I just want to say this. You're not in council and you've just made two fundamentally very important changes for the community.
Right. So the next,
imagine if you get the role.
Right. So the other electors motion I did this year, they changed the wording, said that we're going to advocate for more funding. Right. So that was a bit of a half win. So I'll take a 2.5. I'll take a half win over a loss any day.
Okay.
You know. So essentially, yeah, it was good that it got through. And it was good that something that I started effectively helped people with paying their rates.
And it did help people. Because clearly, if you're paying weekly, this amount, it's very tough. It's breaking into the weekly budget. It's putting pressure on families who are already an unbelievable pressure. We're talking also about the elderly. All right. There's a lot of pensioners out there who are really struggling for cash.
Yeah.
And so when we're fighting over the dollars and cents, there's a reason for it because they add up and they matter. And they matter to the people who, quite frankly, are the bulk of the community. And that's who you're supposed to serve.
Yeah, that's exactly who I'm supposed to serve.
Yeah, spot on. Jason Davies, thank you very much, mate. Thank you for being part of Community Focus. Really appreciate that. And obviously, you've given the details before as far as contact details, but Facebook page is probably a really good way to go. And that is again?
Yeah, so that's Jason Davies for Rockingham /Safety Bay Ward.
Easy as that. Thank you for being part of Community Focus here on Edge Radio Australia.
Thank you.